How many times? Just ask yourself, how many times have you found yourself in that room, under those fluorescent lights, or on that late night phone call laying out your case? How many times have you carefully constructed your arguments, pulled out the receipts of your effort, your love, your loyalty, and presented your heart on a platter, only to be met with that blank stare, that empty silence, or worse, that casual, soul-crushing indifference? How many times have you argued for your own value, trying to convince someone to see the person you know you are, fighting to be heard by ears that have already decided they are deaf to your voice? We have been taught that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, that if you just explain it better, if you just try a little harder, if you just find the right words, they will finally understand. They will finally see you, and so we talk, we plead, we negotiate for respect. We present PowerPoint presentations on our own worthiness in the courtroom of someone else's opinion. And we leave every single encounter feeling emptier than when we began. We leave feeling drained, exhausted, and wondering why the one thing we gave everything to gave us nothing back. That feeling, that hollow echo in your chest, is not a sign that you need to speak louder. It is a sign that you need to stop speaking altogether. It is the universe telling you, begging you, to close the tab, to walk out of the courtroom, to conserve your breath. Because your words, your energy, your very life force are being poured into a vessel with a hole in the bottom. And today, this moment, right now, we are going to seal that hole forever. My name is Jonathan Cahn, and I am not here to give you 5 easy steps to get the girl or to close the deal. I am here to talk about the day of awakening. I've marked a date on the calendar, a symbolic day, August 17th, 2025. This is not a prophecy. It is an appointment. It is an appointment you make with yourself. It is the day you decide to stop auditioning for a role in your own life. It is the day you reclaim the most powerful, misunderstood, and underutilized force at your disposal, your silence. We are going to unlearn the lie that your value is determined by someone else's validation. We are going to discover that the most magnetic, powerful, and respected version of you isn't the one who argues his case the best. It's the one who doesn't have to. It's the one whose presence, whose peace, whose focus speaks more profoundly than 1,000 desperate explanations ever could. This is the path to reclaiming your power, protecting your soul, and building a life so full, so purpose-driven, that the validation you once craved becomes nothing more than background noise. Let's be honest about the pain. Let's talk about the exhaustion. It's a unique kind of tired, isn't it? It's not the physical fatigue from a hard day's work at the gym or on the job. That's a good tired. That's a satisfying ache. No, this is a soul-tiredness. It's the exhaustion that comes from constantly being on trial. The feeling of having to justify your hobbies, your ambitions, your very essence to a partner who looks at you with skepticism. It's the drain of trying to prove your commitment to a person who is always looking for an exit. It's the quiet humiliation of sending a long, heartfelt text message, pouring out your feelings, only to receive a one-word answer hours later. It's the feeling of being a supporting character in someone else's movie. You're the guy who's always available, always understanding, always willing to talk it out for the 5th time. You feel like a fixer, a problem solver. But the only problem you can't seem to solve is the growing emptiness inside of you. You feel unheard because you are. You feel devalued because you are allowing your value to be set by a market that doesn't appreciate you. You are a masterpiece trying to sell yourself at a garage sale, and you keep lowering the price, hoping someone will finally see the bargain. Why do we do this? Why do we, as men, fall into this trap? We are wired to build, to protect, to provide, to solve. And when a connection feels broken, our instinct is to fix it with more effort, more logic, more words. We believe that if we can just make them understand our perspective, the problem will be solved. But this isn't a leaky faucet or a broken engine. This is a human heart, and you cannot logic someone into valuing you. You cannot debate someone into desiring you. You cannot negotiate someone into respecting you. This flawed mindset is rooted in a deep, seated fear of loneliness, a fear of being fundamentally not enough. We think their validation is the cure for our insecurity. We think their approval is the key that unlocks our own self-worth. So we perform, we over-explain, we text first, we call back, we chase. We expend monumental amounts of energy trying to hold together something that is determined to fall apart. And in doing so, we abandon the one person who needs us the most, ourselves. We leave the throne of our own kingdom empty because we are too busy trying to get a seat at someone else's rickety table. This is where the turning point comes. This is the revelation that will change the entire trajectory of your life. It is the principle of strategic silence. Now, hear me clearly. This is not the silent treatment. This is not passive aggression. This is not weakness. This is not giving up. Strategic silence is one of the most active, powerful, and self-honoring decisions you will ever make. It is a declaration of sovereignty over your own emotional energy. It is the conscious choice to stop pouring your power into dead ends. It is energy conservation for your soul. What does it look like in practice? It means you no longer argue with people who are committed to misunderstanding you. When they twist your words, when they accuse you of things you haven't done, when they invalidate your feelings, you don't engage. You don't defend. You don't write a 5-paragraph essay in your defense. You simply let their words hang in the air and die from lack of oxygen. You let their reality be theirs, and you protect yours. It means you no longer explain your vision to people who lack the capacity to see it. Your dream of starting a business, of getting in the best shape of your life, of learning a new skill, you stop sharing it with the doubters and the cynics. Their limited perspective is a cage, and you don't have to live in it. You work. You build. You let your success be the explanation. It means you no longer defend your worth to someone who is actively looking for a reason to devalue you. When she's testing you, when she's comparing you, when she's making you jump through hoops to prove your commitment, you stop playing the game. The very act of having to prove your worth is proof that it's not being recognized. The powerful man doesn't need to say, "I am the prize." His actions, his focus, his refusal to play childish games, that is what shows he is the prize. Your peace becomes your argument. Your progress becomes your rebuttal. Your self-respect becomes your closing statement. And with all of this energy you save, what do? You are spending 80% of your emotional and mental bandwidth on managing someone else's perception of you. Now that 80% is back in your account, you are spiritually, emotionally wealthy, and this is where the transformation begins. You take that wealth and you invest it in the only stock that is guaranteed to give you a return, yourself. You begin to build your kingdom in silence, not for her, not for them, not for Instagram, for you. You stop talking about going to the gym, and you just go. The sweat, the strain, the iron that becomes your new conversation. You stop talking about that business idea. and you spend your evenings building the website, researching the market, making the first sale. The quiet hum of your computer, the focus in your eyes, that becomes your new anthem. You stop complaining about being lonely, and you pick up that guitar you abandoned. You read those books on history or philosophy. You learn a language. You go on a hike by yourself. You learn to enjoy the most important company you will ever have, your own. You become your own source of validation. You start a journal, not just to log events, but to have a conversation with yourself, to ask yourself the hard questions. What do I truly want? What are my non-negotiables? Where have I been betraying myself? You learn to sit with your own emotions. When you feel that pang of loneliness, instead of immediately reaching for your phone to numb it with distraction, you sit with it. You acknowledge it. You say, I hear you. I see you. What are you trying to tell me? You learn to soothe your own anxieties. You learn to celebrate your own wins without needing an audience. The man who can validate himself is immune to the manipulation of others. His emotional state is no longer a puppet on a string, controlled by whether or not he gets a text back. He is the puppeteer. His piece is internally generated. It is his, and no one can take it from him. And then a funny thing happens. A paradox occurs that will astound you. The moment you stop chasing, the moment you stop explaining, the moment your energy is fully and unapologetically redirected inward, you become magnetic. Your silence is not empty, it is full. It is full of purpose, of discipline, of self-respect, and people can feel that. The world can feel that. The woman who took you for granted suddenly feels a shift. The constant stream of energy you were sending her has been cut off. The validation she was getting so easily is no longer available, and it creates a vacuum. She starts to wonder what you're doing. She notices you're not available at her beck and call. She sees your posts about the progress you're making, not to show off, but because you are genuinely excited about your own life. Your indifference to her opinion is more compelling than any declaration of love ever was. Your focus on your mission is more attractive than any compliment you could have paid her. People are drawn to a man who has a center of gravity, a man who is not emotionally needy, a man whose happiness is not contingent on their approval. They lean in not because you begged them to, but because they are drawn to your fire. They start to hear your silence more loudly than they ever heard your words. They have to work to get your attention now. The dynamic has flipped. You are no longer auditioning for them. They are now auditioning for you, and you will find that you are a much more discerning judge because you are now whole on your own. You don't need them to complete you. You are looking for someone who can complement your already complete life. That is the position of true power. That is the position of a king. So I am speaking to you now, the man who is tired, the man who feels lost, the man who has given too much and received too little. That symbolic date, August 17th, 2025, it can be today. It can be tonight. It is the moment the switch flips in your mind. It is the moment you realize that your peace is your ultimate priority. Your energy is your most valuable currency, and you must stop giving it away for free to people who are not invested in your well-being. The world will not stop testing you. People will always try to pull you back into the old drama, the old arguments, the old games. But you will be different. You will have a new operating system, an operating system built on the foundation of self-respect and strategic silence. So tonight, I challenge you. The next time you feel that burning, desperate urge to explain yourself, to defend your character, to plead your case, to beg to be understood, stop. Just stop, take a deep breath, close your eyes, and choose silence. Choose your peace. Choose your mission. Choose yourself. Go and build your life in the quiet dignity of your own focus. Go and become the man you were always meant to be, not for their applause, but for your own soul. The right people, the ones who are truly meant to be in your kingdom, will not need an explanation. They will hear your silence, and it will sound like strength. It will sound like power. It will sound like home. The day of awakening is not a date on a calendar. It is a decision in your heart. Make it now.